She was put into a 3-month medical coma. She lost a leg and she lost an arm. And the reason that I'm mentioning her particularly was because during this 700-person drum circle, this woman was hopping on her foot, on her leg, and absolutely smiling and gleeful and joyful and during the entire circle. Bright, sweet. And so I went up to her at the end of this. And what she told me was that the drum enabled her to forget her handicap. The drum enabled her to remember joy that she had forgotten because of her burns. And I thought to myself, if the drum can do this for someone with such pain, what I didn't know was that people who are burn survivors, they don't leave their house. Do you ever wonder why you don't see burn survivors on the street? Because they're ashamed to go outside of their house, of how they look. And yet at this circle, there were 700 burn survivors expressing their joy and creativity. The power of the drum is extraordinary. So what role do we play in these times? We have the responsibility of serving as a channel. If you serve as a channel, you have to practice getting out of the way. You have to practice learning to release your ego. What does that mean? Expectations of what you think should happen. You have to release the part of you that wants a particular thing to happen, because then you might get disappointed if it doesn't. And yet, what happens may be exactly what needs to happen. So what do you have to have? You have to have an awareness of yourself. Awareness of your blocks. Awareness of your fears. And then have the willingness and intention and focus purely to make the life better of that person that you are serving. Often what will happen is, before every circle, I will make a prayer to allow myself to release my ego, focus solely on the individuals that are in the room, so I can make someone feel better about themselves, or about their life, or about their experience. So we've all been given a gift of choosing a field in service of rhythm. In rhythm there's life, in rhythm there's spirit. But this weekend's on nurturing the body, mind, and spirit. And how are you doing with that? How are you doing at nurturing your body, mind, and spirit? So, do you allow yourself to receive? Do you take care of yourself? Do you love yourself and know what that means to love yourself? I work with hospitals and healthcare workers and doctors, and 50% of them have burnout. They love giving, they love helping, they love being of service and supporting, but they forget one thing, that they have needs too. That they have to nurture themselves. That it's not only about giving. Giving is great. We love drumming. That feels like giving. But the reality is that you know when you're burning out. You know when you're coming from emptiness. Learning to know the signs of that are key to being able to do this field in a way that supports those individuals that we're working with. I want you to put your arm out like this. I want you to tighten your arm. Make it tight, make it tighter, make it tighter, tighter, a little bit tighter. How many of you are breathing? 2 of you are breathing. Good. So, what you just demonstrated is what research shows. That is that 9 out of 10 of you will literally stop breathing when you're under stress. What you just did was you indicated your body's stress reaction with your arm. And if you notice, you weren't aware you weren't breathing until I mentioned it. Because you were focused on your arm, which is your stress. In that moment, your body wants you to do something. What do you think it wants you to do? Breathe. Well, let's say that you ignore that and continue with your stressful ways. Your body will then keep you into level 2 of its warning system. Level 2 is pain, headaches, backaches, shoulder aches, stomach aches. How many of you have experienced some of that? But let's say you ignore those symptoms. Your body will then kick you into level 3 of its warning system, and that's immune system related disorders. Strokes, heart attacks, type 2 diabetes, urinary tract infections, aging, cancer, Alzheimer's. So you have 2 responsibilities. First one is, where does stress go in your body? It'll generally go to the same place over and over and over again until you become aware of it. And second responsibility is, what are the thoughts that you are thinking? Every single thought will create an immediate emotional reaction. So how can you tell the thoughts you're thinking? There's 2 ways. Watch the words you speak. Notice if when you speak, you're speaking in a calm, relaxed way. Notice if you're focused on the negative. Notice if you're worried. And then you also want to notice how you feel throughout the day. So, are you excited throughout the day? Do you feel joy when you wake up? Notice it. It's your sign of what you're thinking. Now, it takes 21 days to change a habit. Today's day 1. And we're going to do a relaxation technique because this is about nurturing your body, mind, and spirit. 21 days to change a habit. Which means that you have to do something different tomorrow than you did today if you have any stress, if you feel like you might be burning out. One thing I recommend is take something familiar, add something unfamiliar. Take something you do all the time, add something different. As an example, put your hand out like this. Every time you turn a doorknob, I want you to take a deep breath in. We're going to do it now. Turn the doorknob, breathe in. And then release. Once again. Release. Good. You do that over and over and over again. You're going to find yourself feeling more relaxed when you walk into rooms in a couple of days. A man by the name of Dr. Stephen Rickshaw wrote a book called Time Shifting. He said you should develop personal pause buttons throughout the day. What's a personal pause button? How many of you answer the phone throughout the day? Everybody does. He says answer the phone not on the first ring, but second ring. Use the first ring as an opportunity to take a deep breath in. So let's practice. Put your hand out. We'll do one of those old-timey phones. You know the ones where you go like this?
That's too young.
That's good. All right, I'll do the first ring. On the first ring, you'll take a deep breath in. You'll say, no, first ring, you will not take a deep breath in. We'll do a practice round. Just say hello. Ready? Ring. Hello. Good. Now 2 rings. First ring, you take a deep breath in. Here we go. Ring. Ring. Hello. You know why you got deeper? That's thousands of times. Because you were a little bit more relaxed, and when you're a little bit more relaxed, your voice gets sultry. Yes. So here's what I want to do. We do relaxation exercise. Put both feet on the floor. Put your back to the back of the chair. This is an exercise using a drum, but it's also using some music. So first what I want you to do is I want you to close your eyes. I want you to notice how your body's feeling. it feel relaxed? Does it feel comfortable? Does it feel at ease? Does it feel tight? Does it feel tense? Just notice it. And then I want you to notice how you're breathing. I want you to notice if your breathing is shallow or deep. If your breath is shallow, you have something called thoracic or chest breathing. The other name for this is stress breathing. What's happening is you've got giving your body very little oxygen, causing you to go into a mild state of oxygen starvation. Creating a mild degree of stress just by the way you're breathing. So the first part of this process involves how you breathe. A man by the name of Dr. Herbert Benson found that when your exhalation is twice as long as your inhalation, your body will move into a state of relaxation. Again, when your exhalation is twice as long as your inhalation, your body will naturally relax. So there's two elements to this. Take a deep breath in, your body needs oxygen to relax. And then as you release, I want you to blow all the air out through your lungs, all the CO2 out. Now within a minute to a minute and a half, your body will start to shift and change. Within a minute to a minute and a half, your heart rate will start to slow down. Your blood pressure will begin to normalize. Serum cholesterol in the blood will decrease. Blood circulation will increase because your blood vessels will expand. As they expand, blood flows more smoothly to your arms and legs. You may start to feel heat in your arms and legs. Here's the key. Your brain waves will also shift from the beta wave, normal wave of consciousness, to the alpha wave, a slow brain wave rhythm associated with the feeling of inner peace and tranquility. And one of the goals that you have as drummers, as rhythm makers, is to know when that shift happens, when that rhythm shifts from beta to alpha, because what you will experience is the feeling of inner peace and tranquility. Now, just a moment. You're going to hear the sound of a drum. When you hear the sound of a drum, I want you to take a deep breath in. I want you to hold it till you hear the second beat. When you hear the second beat, I want you to release all of the air through your mouth. Let all the CO2 out. Then there will be a pause, and then you wait for the second beat. And again, I'll instruct you as we go on. Here we go. Take a deep breath in. Holding it, holding it, holding it. Release the air through your mouth. All the CO2. Then there's a pause. Then take another deep breath in. Holding it, holding it, holding it, holding it. And then release again. Then there's a pause. Deep breath in. And this time on your out breath, what I want you to do as you breathe out is I want you to drop your shoulders. Your shoulders are up, you're doing something called bracing. It's an unconscious response to stress. Pause. Deep breath in again. Again, as you breathe out, drop your shoulders even more. That's where you often hold your stress. And there's a pause. And then deep breath in once more. This next out breath, what I want you to do as you breathe out is I want you to soften the muscles of your stomach. It's another place where stress often goes. So release the stomach muscles. Pause. Deep breath in. Filling your lungs with air. On this next out breath, what I want you to do is allow a wave of relaxation to move through your body. Pause. Deep breath in. Filling your lungs with air again. Give you some more tricks, allowing a slight space between your upper and lower lips. Signals to your brain you should relax. What I want you to do is, as you breathe out, make sure that you allow a slight space between your upper and lower lips, separating your jaws. Pause. We'll do this 4 more times. Deep breath in. find your home breath, the most relaxed breath that you can take right now. What I want you to do is focus on your inner rhythms, the rhythm of your breath, the rhythm of your heartbeat, the rhythm of your muscles, the rhythm of your brain waves. Focus on the majesty of these inner rhythms that hold up your vitality, that represent your being in the world. I want you to feel this as a unique rhythm that's all yours. And allow it to intuit. Allow yourself to intuit whatever this rhythm is. That's your rhythm in the world. That when you facilitate this rhythm is always holding up your being. Now I'm going to slowly start counting from 1 to 10. When I reach 10, I will invite you back into this space feeling present, centered, relaxed, and ready to continue with today's session. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Slowly open your eyes. So, by a show of hands, how many would just like to go to sleep right now? How many of you actually went to sleep? You weren't alone. So, by a little more seriousness, how many of you feel a little bit more relaxed than when you started the exercise? So that exercise took about 10 minutes. The goal is that it take about 30 seconds. So how do you turn a 10-minute technique into a 30-second technique? So I focused on various places you might store stress. For example, your shoulders. How many found stress in your shoulders? Your stomach. How many found stress in your stomach? So what you want to do is you want to focus your attention throughout the day on those places where you found tension and stress. And I mentioned a couple of antidotes along the way. Who remembers one of them?
Lower your shoulders.
So drop your shoulders is a really important one. Thank you. Who remembers another one? Slight space between your upper and lower lips that creates a message to your brain. Thank you. So, deep breath in because the body needs oxygen to relax. Good.
Inhale, flash the long head.
Very, very important. That's the key. So, if you can practice breathing out twice as much as you breathe in, you will stay relaxed throughout the day. You will never be burned out. So, last year, I was invited to work with children with cancer in the Dominican Republic. And it was there that I met Martin. So, at this hospital for infants, first I was working with kids who had chemotherapy, they were receiving chemotherapy. But then they asked me if I wanted to go to the terminal ward, where children who had terminal cancer. And I agreed to do it. And I walked into the room, and there was a boy, sweet little boy, 10 years old, and his name was Martin. And he was lying down, he looked very sad, and I asked him if he wanted to drum. And he said he did, which I was really happy about. But he said, I can only drum with one hand. He said the other hand has something on it for chemotherapy, some kind of device on it. So he took this one stick and he started drumming. And first he's lying down, and he's drumming with me, we're drumming together. And then he starts sitting up. And then he says to me, maybe I can try putting the stick in the other hand as well. And so he put the stick underneath this chemotherapy thing. And then he's sitting up and he's drumming and he's starting to smile. And he's really into it, we're drumming together. And then his mom walked in the room and said that this is one of the first times that he's really expressed himself since his illness. And she said that he was a drummer before he got his diagnosis. And so we drummed and drummed. He said something that I will always remember. He said to me, when will you be coming back? Because for me, that signified he had what? Yeah. I told him I'd come back in 6 months. I gave him the drums. And then I found out a few months ago that he was released from the terminal ward. And he went home.
Yeah.
So, no matter what populations you work with, you will make a difference. Just the intention of helping others. One of the keys, as I mentioned, is self-awareness. What I would like to do is share a quote with you. The quote came from Ralph Waldo Emerson. He said, "Do not follow where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail." We're all trailblazers. Make sure that the path you follow is the path of the heart.